Talking about Woolies pick and mix and those halfpenny sweets at the corner shop got me thinking about all the other sweets we had growing up. Once you start remembering them, they just keep coming back. Here are 10 I still remember from the 70s and 80s. Even at the end of the week, you usually had a bit of pocket money left over, or maybe you'd found a penny on the floor, just enough to buy a couple of blackjacks, mojos, or fruit salads. These were the halfpenny sweets, sometimes 3 or 4 for a penny even, that every corner shop had on display in little boxes on the counter, all chewy and full of flavour, but each unique in its own way. Blackjacks had that love them or hate them factor with their strong licorice flavour, the choice for the serious sweet eater. Fruit salads were the slightly safer option, unmissable with their bright pink and yellow wrappers. Personally, my favourites were the mojos, as they always seemed to last longer than the others. The advertising line for Opal Fruits really was spot on. They were. I remember the anticipation of seeing what the first one in the pack would be. Would I be lucky and get an orange? Or end up with that lime one that no one seemed to like? Opal Fruits are still around today as starbursts, but to us, they'll always be Opal Fruits. We didn't have energy drinks in the 70s and 80s. All of our fizzy energy came from refreshers, those little circles of fizzy goodness that came in a variety of flavours. They were a little bit chalky, and did I mention the fizziness? Polos were a little different from the chewy sweets, crisp, minty, with that familiar hole in the middle. I remember popping one in my mouth after lunch at school, or trying to sneak the last one from a friend's pack without them noticing. And of course there were also the fruit polos, a little sweeter, a little juicier, and just as addictive. They were simple, but somehow felt like a proper treat. So far we've had some classic chewy and fizzy sweets, but I'm curious, which ones do you remember best? Drop a comment below and share your favourites. Smarties were one of those treats everyone had in their pocket. Little chocolate discs with that crunchy, colourful shell. I remember shaking them out of the tube and spilling them into my hand, counting how many of each colour I got, and sometimes trading the ones I didn't like with my brother. Bright, cheerful, and always a little bit magical, they felt like a proper celebration in every handful. Tic Tacs were a little bit different from the other sweets, tiny, hard, and minty, almost like a grown-up treat in their little plastic containers. I remember shaking a few out into my hand and popping them one by one, sometimes guessing the flavour as I went. They were simple, refreshing, and just the right size for a little pick-me-up between lessons or on the bus ride home. Pacers were Opal Fruits' minty cousin, chewy, minty, and a bit more substantial than your average sweet. I remember buying a strip and feeling that satisfying chew with that cool, refreshing, minty flavour. They were a favourite for anyone who liked a proper mint after a school lunch, and somehow felt a little bit more grown up than the fruity sweets in the shop. Back then, Love Hearts were always seen as a girl's sweet. Are we even allowed to say that these days? With their heart shapes and soppy slogans like Kiss Me and Be Mine, us lads wouldn't be seen dead eating them, unless of course they were given to us by a girl. Flying saucers were a bit of a novelty, tiny discs of fizzy sherbet wrapped in that thin, papery, edible shell. You'd pop one in your mouth and get that initial fizzy powder rush before it disappeared. They were fun, a bit messy, and always felt like a treat you didn't see every day. Somehow, they made the corner shop feel a little bit more magical. Before we move on to our final sweet, you might notice there's no chocolate bars mentioned here. That's intentional. They deserve a video all of their own, so stay tuned for my top chocolatey memories coming soon. And finally, sweet cigarettes, probably the cheekiest of all corner shop treats. Tiny, chalky sticks that looked like the real thing but were just sugar. They even came in packets that looked like real cigarette packs. I remember the thrill of pretending to smoke them, feeling a bit rebellious and maybe trying to impress a friend. They were simple, a little naughty, and perfectly captured the era. Definitely a sweet that sticks in your memory. Thank you for watching. We'll be back soon with another set of Gen X memories, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends.